from the most uncomfortable bar stool in the history of mankind in the St. Louis airport on a 3-hour layover. Let's talk about this Texans team and how they wrapped up practice in Cleveland. DeMeco Ryans loved what he saw from this practice. We'll talk a little bit about what he called a deloaded practice and some of the things that were close to full speed that stood out from this workout. Ryans on the rookie running backs and Ryans on a linebacker that might be a key player early on for this Texans team, especially the way DeMeco talked about his usefulness so far in training camp. Get all that and a little surprise for you at the end as well. But 3 days in Cleveland, and the Texans loved what they were able to do in Cleveland. DeMeco Ryans was gushing about how it finally felt like training camp, like they really enjoyed the work that they were able to put in. He's talked about the camaraderie that guys build after being together and being on the road for so long. I mean, they've been on the road since Wednesday of last week. They'll be on the road through, Saturday morning whenever they get back from Pittsburgh, and that's a good bunch of time with your teammates to kind of get together and grow and deepen their connections. Daniil Hunter talked about it today. DeMeco's talked about it a bunch as well. So that's a big positive for him. But the work they got on the field, DeMeco Ryans really liked that. They had 2 really tough practices, back-to-back days. He liked to see the offense going back and forth, which was something that he was pretty happy to see in those first 2 matchups. And then we have the third one today, which is kind of the lighter practice. He called it deload. I say that they kind of geared down. And really the only thing close to full speed was when they went 7-on-7. Now, they actually had some pretty fun 7-on-7 stuff, and I'll give you the notables from that. First play of 7-on-7, Derek Stingley did it again. Nico Collins, front of the end zone, C.J. Stroud's dropping back, and he fires a dart over to Nico Collins, and I'm thinking to myself, all right, here we go, that front of the end zone touchdown that this offense loves to throw. Next thing you know, Derek Stingley, full extension, dive, barely gets a fingertip on it, and that ball flies away. Pass breakup, Derek Stingley, and it's like, that's just what he does. He's played fantastic in training camp. He's been one of the best players on the field, and even when somebody gets him, he usually gets them with payback, either later on in that practice or the very next day. You're not consistently beating Derek Stingley, and the hope that he is having a healthy season for the Texans has got to be as high as it has been in recent memory, because he had a healthy offseason. He's looked really good in training camp, and the potential of a healthy season for Derek Stingley, it's going to be through the roof. I believe if he plays all 17 games, he'll be an all-pro at cornerback. He's got to play all 17 games, though, because the injuries, of course, we know, have stacked up. Tank Dell had the play of the day in 7-on-7s. Stroud was scanning the field, didn't really see anything initially, left or right, and then Dell streaking across the back part of that end zone. And CJ just throws it high, trusting Tank Dell and the athleticism on full display for number 3. He goes up, rips it out of the air, and then like leaning back as he's coming down, taps both the toes in on the back of the end zone. Officials there throw up touchdown, and it was, just an incredible play. Like I said, it was the play of the day, and most of the stuff was not even 50%, and if it was 50%, it was just slightly over 50% as far as effort and how they were going through. It was kind of walkthrough-y at times, but not in 7-on-7s, as they had a couple of really nice moments. John Mechie in 7-on-7s. He caught a touchdown, but that was only after he dropped a touchdown. He had one hit him right in the hands, and it just hit the ground. And that is something that has been a problem for John Mechie in training camp. The consistency for Mechie has not been there, and that'd be my concern if he was making the team is, can you rely on him from a consistency standpoint if you're going to put him out there? If you can't get the best version of him out of the limited reps that he would get as the 5th or 6th wide receiver, that is a question that you have to have if you're trying to put him on this team and have him be one of the depth receivers for this team. And he even had a drop late in practice when they were kind of just going, half speed, a little bit past half speed. He had a drop as well. And the consistency for Mechie just has not been there. And that would be the biggest concern for me with John Mechie is, can he be consistent? And he's still got time. He's still got a handful of practices, 3 preseason games. He can showcase enough to make this team. As it stands right now, I feel like we talk about John Mechie a lot, but you guys want to hear about him, and it's an interesting portion of the depth chart. As of right now, I would tell you I can't put John Mechie on the team if I was the Texans. I'd go with Xavier Hutchinson, I'd go with Ben Skoranek, and I'd go with Robert Woods as well. The limited special teams ability for Mechie is something to consider in this equation as well. So it was a tough one, even in a deloaded practice for John Mechie. Let's see what he can do in his next action, which is going to be against the Steelers in Pittsburgh in a preseason game. Go out there, show out in the game, be a game day player. Doesn't matter how you practice if you can take care of business on game day. Speaking of taking care of business on game day, the rookie running backs didn't get to take care of business in the preseason game. British Brooks and Jawar Jordan, it looked like they were slated to do everything in the second half last week, and then weather canceled a quarter and a half of football. And so that was unfortunate for the rookies. I felt like they might have missed out on reps. DeMeco Ryans kind of pushed back on the idea that they missed out on reps. In fact, Ryan said the reps they did get sort of set the tone for them and gave them the chance to have a really big week. Here's the head coach.
With the rookies, the 2 rookie running backs, I know it sucks that the game was canceled, but it was an extra game. So I don't think they've lost out on their opportunities to showcase what they had. I've actually seen them this week actually get better in practice. Right, from my perspective, I think they've done a much better job. They needed that game exposure to see what it really takes. They got that exposure, and now they were able to get better and build on what they did in the game. They built on that in practice. So the game did it. They didn't lose anything from the game being canceled.
They made the most out of it.
For sure. Out of the couple reps they did get, like, they made the most out of it. You see Brooks made a nice play, special teams. Jawar had a run. They think we could have done a better job of finishing and running the ball. So now I see how he's running the ball in practice. Like, man, he's done a great job this week, probably his best week of camp so far. So that game definitely served its purpose for showing the young guys, hey, what does it truly take to, build and get better in the league? They've got that answer. They've got that wake-up call, so to speak, and they've shown it this week in practice.
How about that? I love what he said about Jawar Jordan, the rookie running back from Louisville. British Brooks had a really nice catch in 7-on-7s. It was Case Keenum threw it to him, and Brooks had to kind of contort his body, front corner of the end zone, ripped it out of the air as he was kind of falling to the ground, got both feet in for the score, and it was a really good job by him. And to have that good week heading into Pittsburgh, you've still got a lot of practices left. You've still got the joint practice as well where you could get some reps. And that final preseason game is going to be big for them. Look, this is not easy to figure out who the 4 running backs for this team are. Obviously, a healthy Joe Mixon. And if Dameon Pierce is healthy, it feels like those are your top 2. Dare Ogunbowale for the success that he's had in training camp and then just how much they trust him. Bobby Slowick called him one of the most consistent running backs on the team as well. So there's 3. And then who's the 4th guy? Is it Cam Akers, who's starting to get confident and come on a little bit here for the Texans? Is it Jawar Jordan, the rookie from Louisville? Is it British Brooks? And if those guys don't make the team, how good is their case to be on the practice squad and stay around this organization as well? That's something that I wonder about with these running backs. And as Case Keenum talked about the other day, and I kind of asked him about how he kind of imparts knowledge on young guys, he's like, look, you put yourself on tape for this team, but you're also putting yourself on tape for every team. So, if you're British Brooks, you're Jawar Jordan, even if you don't make the Texans, but you have, say, 2 big preseason performances, maybe you're on somebody else's team with your youth and the chance that there's some potential there that another team sees that the Texans just couldn't squeeze on to the roster for whatever reason. Another great comment I loved was DeMeco Ryans talking about Jake Hansen and what he had to say about the third-year linebacker. Undrafted free agent, made the team 2 years ago, stuck around through last year, and now here in his 3rd year, really showing some growth and some development. You can see DeMeco Ryans light up as he starts to talk about Hansen and what he brings to the table. And after we hear from the head coach, I'll tell you why he is an important piece to this linebacker room right now.
Yeah, Jake continues to get better every time he steps out on the field. Like, he continues to surprise me every day. He just gets better and better and better, and that's what coaching, that's what the NFL is all about. You see a young player who is undrafted, and a guy you see, man, can you mold him into contributing and playing meaningful snaps? I think every day where Jake, he's one of our hardest workers, right? Whether it's in special teams, like he's competing in drills at the linebacker spot. Jake, he's done a great job. We put a lot on him, ask him to play all 3 linebacker spots. And Jake is the one guy who can handle it and not blink when we ask him to step in there. So a guy of his caliber being undrafted and being able to serve multiple roles for us just shows everybody, like, it's just not about where you're selected in the league, it's just about what you do with the opportunity that you've gotten. And Jake has really taken advantage of his opportunity.
So Hansen's versatility to be able to play those 3 linebacker spots, plus his usefulness on special teams, that kind of makes Jake Hansen a really important player for this linebacking room that we don't know when Christian Harris is going to get back. And Henry To'o is a second-year player. Neville Hewitt's more of a special teams ace, though he's played well in training camp to this point. And then you've got some other just kind of maybes, Delshon Phillips, Jacob Phillips, guys like that at the linebacker spot. Hansen, knowing the system, being able to play a bunch of the different positions, playing on special teams, having some success on special teams as well. We saw the big tackle, the big hit that actually forced him out of the game in the preseason game. I mean, Hansen is a guy that, especially if Christian Harris you have a question about how much he's going to be able to practice ahead of the start of the season, I'd keep Hansen on the roster. I'd put him on the roster and have him be a special teams demon, and then that super backup there at the linebacker spot, being able to back up a variety of different guys. And I mean, if he continues to put together with these practices, couple of preseason performances, I mean, Hansen's going to be on this team if he stays on the current track that he's on. And I believe he's a useful piece to this team, especially with the question about Christian Harris, that hamstring lingering for a while, and when exactly he might be back. If Harris isn't back sometime next week, you may have a hard time betting on him being ready for the regular season. He's got to play in practice with Azeez Al-Shire and get used to how things are going to operate with the new captain there in the middle of the defense and Al-Shire and the guy with the green dot. Like, Harris has got to get used to that. He's got to play with Al-Shire at some point. You can't just have no preseason and stick him out there. You can do that for Laramie Tunsil. I don't believe you could do that for Christian Harris, and Harris's question mark might be a benefit for a guy like Jake Hansen. All right, there's your breakdown of the third day in Cleveland. An off day for the team on Thursday and the preseason game on Friday. They won't practice on Saturday, but then Sunday night they'll have a practice. That night practice pretty quick after the game. Don't know what to expect from that one, but we'll, of course, have you covered right here on the channel through the game, through tomorrow, through the weekend, and through that night practice as well. We got you covered on everything. So give me a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I told you about the little surprise here at the end. We did a Cleveland food review on a Ohio-only restaurant. So very specific. And then I want to give you the details on that food review and then give you a little addendum on it as well. So it's coming your way right now. All right, I got a little on-the-road food review for you. How about that? On-the-road food review, Swenson's Drive-In. Okay, this is an Ohio staple from what I understand. And when they say drive-in, they mean drive-in. You pull up and you have to have your lights on, and somebody comes out and takes your order, and they go inside, and then they bring it back out to you. I mean, it's like Sonic without the giant boards, but you get a person that comes out to you. Anyway, it looked good. It's an Ohio-only situation. I'm going to show you what I got, and we'll do a little taste test. They won Best Burger in America in 1999. And they still do a good amount of claiming of that as well. It was Forbes. Forbes gave them the best burger in America in 1999. Swenson's signature burger, the Galley Boy, which is served, if you can see here, with an olive on the top, which is an interesting addition here. This is not the biggest burger in the world. I mean, it's, half the size of my hand. And then I was told that what are these called? It's like a potato jalapeno thing. And the guy told me to get it Cajun flavored. So we'll give that a try after we try the best burger in America from 1999, the Galley Boy. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that olive. Eat it, I guess. I don't really like green olives. I'm more of a black olive guy. So this is a double cheeseburger with two different sauces. And just a little quick look here at the sauces. You can see that. Let me get it up in there. I just got sauce all over the keyboard. That's okay. That very clearly looks like a tartar sauce. And then the other sauce, based on the color, looks like a barbecue sauce. So a barbecue sauce, tartar sauce, double cheeseburger. Let's see what the Galley Boy offers here. Oh, that barbecue sauce has a really sweet finish. Get the tanginess of the tartar sauce right up front. Meat's good. The bun is kind of falling apart. It's not the best bun. Like I'd put it on probably a potato bun, and it'd go really good. Let's get another bite in here. That's a good burger. I mean, that's a good burger. I mean, it's not the best burger I've ever had. It's not the best fast food burger I've ever had. $13 for that burger and the little Cajun side things. Probably a little much. Going to hurt the score a little bit. But that's a good burger. Potato, jalapeno, tossed in Cajun flavoring. Let's see how their ranch is here. I mean, what more could you ask for? It's basically a loaded mashed potato bite with jalapeno in it. Without the ranch here in this time. Well, that's excellent. It's really good with the ranch, but good without the ranch. So best burger in America in 1999. I can see how it won it. It's unique. It's different. It was a double cheeseburger. Not everybody was doing big double cheeseburgers, 2 different sauces at that time. It's also Forbes that awarded them that award. Look, I'm sure Forbes was a big deal with food in 1999. It's not now. I wouldn't go to Forbes for my food advice. That's why you guys come here. You come here for the food advice, right? All right, so the Galley Boy and then the potato jalapeno crisper thing. Okay, we're going to give Swenson's a whole score together. Okay, price hurts it a little bit. Only had Diet Pepsi, didn't have Pepsi Zero. Traditional place, so don't expect them to have the newer fancy zero sodas. Okay, Swenson's Drive-In as a whole, and that price just keeps knocking it a little bit. It's a good burger, though. It's a little small. I like the poppers. I'm going to go 8.3. 8.3 for Swenson's Drive-In. The poppers are really good. I could eat 2 or 3 of those burgers. They're so the size of them. I mean, they're basically the size of a McDouble. We'll go, yeah, 8.3. It's a good score. It's a good score. 1 to 11. 11 being Hall of Fame, greatest of all time, the Tom Brady of food. 8.3. It's good. It's a nice novelty. I would put it probably in the rotation. If I was, eating fast food a lot, I'd have it in the rotation. It wouldn't be my, ace, but it's worth a shot in the rotation, worth a spot. And if you're ever in, I guess, Cleveland, Youngstown, Akron, and then Cincinnati, I think that's the only place they are. Swenson's would do good in Houston, though. Let's bring them to Houston. Let me see about franchising. We'll work on that. And then we'll, maybe make the burgers a little bit bigger. We can up that 8.3 some. All right. That's the food review of Swenson's Drive-In. Now, I want to say I'm not going to change scores of items, and this was a review of a whole place. I'm not going to change the score for this place, but I went and ate there 3 more times before I left. I liked it a whole lot more than I did on the initial score. It's still don't think it's great bang for the buck, but that Galley Boy burger, man, it just it stuck in the back of my brain. So I had it for lunch the next day, and I think I snuck one more in there. Their French fries were really good. I didn't try those in the food review, but the guy let me down. The French fries were really good there. And so I liked them probably a little bit more than the initial score, but we don't change scores. But I thought I should add that in about the Swenson's visit and the review of Swenson. So hope you enjoyed it. Appreciate you. We'll have more food reviews for you here in the near future. Thanks for watching.
And your book bag, please come back to retrieve your items before the authorities are called. Again, if you were just at gate 20, you left behind your glass.
Somebody at gate E20 left their stuff, and they're going to call the authorities on them.